Hi there and welcome along to another workout for you to row along to. Today what we're going to do is 8 4-minute intervals with 3 minutes rest in between, and you're going to do this at 2k plus 5 to 6 pace. And this is a fantastic mid-tier, top-end mid-tier workout that you can do as a standalone, or you can use it as week 2, session 2 of the Redux 2k plan. Now with the 3-minute rest in between, this is going to certainly be up there intensity wise, but you're only working for 4 minutes. And if you look at what we did in week 1, session 2, you'll see that this is just a natural progression in terms of trying to build up the intensity for you. Okay, so it's going to be a tough workout, but those 3 minutes rest, don't worry about it, they're going to help you get through it. So as always, we'll start off with a 4-minute warm-up. Now we start off by setting up the drag factor. You can see I'm outside today and I've been smart enough to set up the machine so you can see the lever on the drag factor. So drag factor first. If you don't know what drag factor is, please check the video on my YouTube channel. Next up, go to your monitor and set it at eye height so you don't have to look up and you don't have to look down. And finally, the foot strap should cover the bottom lace in your shoe. I'm wearing shoes just for the warm-up or for the intro because the grass is wet. Or if you're in socks like me, then they just let you set the foot straps to let you bend comfortably forwards at the front. I completely threw my rhythm there by talking about the grass, didn't I? Anyway, right, sunglasses on because it's another scorchio day. 4-minute warm-up. Remember, it's a warm-up, so start nice and gentle. Just keep moving for the start. 18 strokes a minute in 3, 2, 1, go. I always find my intros when I'm outside, I'm always kind of almost whispering because I always think, surely the neighbours can hear me. And if it's not bad enough that the idiot's in the back garden rowing, now he's talking to himself. But, you know what? The weather is just stunning. Heat-wise, it's still only about 12 or 13 degrees, but trust me, when you live in Glasgow, you're lucky I don't have a t-shirt off. Don't worry, if you ever find me rowing on one of these with my t-shirt off, feel free to leave a lot of abuse. I'll leave that to the other guy. All right, we're 1 minute into this warm-up. Hopefully your heart rate's up a little bit. Muscles are easing off. Any stiffness in your back or whatever, hopefully that's easing off too. And you can just spend a little bit of thought with the push from your legs. Okay, so you're just pushing. That's how you're generating the force into the row, is by pushing from the front of the stroke. And just try and get the timing right as you do that leg drive, that the handle picks up the flywheel at the same time. In 3 strokes time, 2 more, we'll take 1 foot out of the foot straps and put it on the ground. And just continue rowing. Wasn't quite smart that time because I had to get my shoe in place in order to keep my socks dry. So you're just continuing to row with just 1 foot strapped in. Helps with compression and flexibility issues. 1 more here. Get your other foot out. Actually, I've slowed right down. And continue rowing. There's ups and downsides rowing outside. Downside being the grass isn't dry yet from an entire winter and autumn of rain. So 1 more stroke here. And let's put both feet back in, straight legs, and row with your back and arms. Just swing backwards and forwards over your hips. As you're tilting forwards, tilt backwards, forwards, backwards. And I really want it to be a swing of your body over your hips, not a bend and a kind of crumple. I'll talk more about that during the main session. Then let's do the opposite, straight arms, just push out with the legs. All you really need to worry about here is that connection with the flywheel at the front. So this isn't about power. This drill here is all about timing of that foot press and the connection with the flywheel or water wheel or magnet or hamster wheel, whatever it is you've got on your rowing machine. And that's us all done. Well, for the warm-up anyway. Have a quick drink, move up and down the rail, and I'll quickly describe one more time what today's session is. Okay then, so today's workout is going to be 8 4-minute intervals at 2k plus 5 to 6 pace. You might want to sit at the +6 for the first few intervals just to make sure that you're okay to get through this, and then maybe when you get to intervals 7 and 8 you can start to push things. Don't worry about it, this is all going to be down to you and knowing that you can hold the intensity. Remember, this is a mid-tier workout, so it's supposed to be up there. You're supposed to be experiencing the hardship over the 4-minute interval, and then it'll give you the rest time to then reset, ready for the next interval. Now what will happen is you go through all 8 intervals of this workout, that point of intensity of hardship will get kind of earlier and earlier, and you'll have to hold on for longer and longer. But that's why we have these rest periods, and that's why there's only 8 intervals this week rather than 10 times 3 that we did in week 1, session 2, if you're following along the 2K plan. All right, so remember it's 28 strokes a minute, so we're going to be up there from rate-wise. Follow me for stroke rate, either on the video by watching me or on the podcast by listening to the sound of my flywheel. And as always, I will keep you company during the row with tips about technique and probably what I'm going to have to eat tonight. Well, it's Friday, so do I even need to tell you? Right, you ready for this? 4 minutes, 28 strokes a minute at 2k plus 5 to 6 pace in 3, 2, 1. Go. Right, so finding that stroke rate and pace from the first interval is always interesting. There we go. It took me, about 6 strokes to get both of them locked in, but I'm going to sit at 2k plus 6 for the majority of this workout. Need to make sure the body's okay for it. I did session 4 from week 1, which was the 2-minute sprints. Did that a few days ago, but at a lower rate, and just felt my right quad go, so I don't want to push things too soon today, just in case. But I'm looking to hold 150, 151 here, but don't worry about my pace, just worry about your own. Remember, it's 5 or 6 seconds slower than your average 2,000 meter time. So if you row 2,000 meters in 8:20, then your average 500 meter pace is 2:05. So you'd be rowing this at 2:10, 2:11. Right, we're past halfway on this first interval. Now, it is going to feel a bit more intense than last week because of this extra minute, and we're not increasing rest time. However, there's only 8 intervals this week as opposed to 10 last week, so it all comes out in the wash really.
And I'm sure if you do the maths, you probably have a educated guess as to what next week will be. Remember, it's important in a plan to have a sense of progression and take you through tougher workouts in order to get faster. There's no point just powering along at the same pace and intensity for 4 weeks. This will make you faster and able to hold that pace for longer. 2 strokes. Last one. There we go. Suddenly a cloud of midges flew through my vision there. It can't be midges season already. Maybe my little badger will scare them all away. Still no name for the badger yet. I'll wait for a few replies before we christen him, but I don't think I need him today, to be honest. There's not a breath of wind in the air at all. You can actually feel proper heat from the sun. I've said it before, but it really is nice, that transition between that kind of winter, spring, where the sun's just about light, and then suddenly a corner gets turned and the sun ends up being about heat instead, or not instead, but as well. It's lovely. I really am a creature of the heat, the sun. I did miss not getting on a decent summer holiday last year, but hey, nobody did. I was dangerously close to talking about things that will massively date these videos. I'm not gonna. It's kind of, this time round for the 2K plan, I want to make sure it's relatively timeless. Fair enough, I'm talking about it being March, there's not that kind of side of things, but the last one was firmly in the middle of the COVID lockdown, the first one. And so quite a lot of the things I was talking about was like the impacts, not like all the time, I'm not trying to scare you away from that plan, but it's things like the stupid haircut I had, that kind of impact, not the economical impacts of COVID. But this time round, I can talk about it in reference, as in, it's been interesting to see losing all the weight that I put on through COVID, but I'm not gonna, yeah, you get what I mean. I'm still whispering. I'm still worried that people are listening in. What if they are? The neighbours are only new. Oh well, set out my stall early. Right, 30 seconds to go. Now if you want to do rolling starts for this, start rowing with about 10 seconds to go, and that gets the flywheel moving, and it means that first stroke isn't all getting sent and that's quite often through your lower back. It's your choice, depends how you set the monitor up and things, whether you're able to row with that 10 seconds to go. But start now if you want to. I'm gonna wait until I hit 0, which is in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Same thing again. Interval 2. Now it's interesting how last time round it took me 5 or 6 strokes to get up to pace and stroke rate. Whereas this time round I was there within 2. And that is a great example of neuroplasticity. John's been reading books. Word of the day, toilet paper. No. Just having done it in the first interval and setting up that rhythm, it's like your brain and body just want to pick up where it left off, which is one of the reasons I don't really like doing light rowing in the rest periods, is I feel that not only is that risking draining energy, but also kind of gets in the way of grinding in the rhythm of rowing at slightly higher stroke rates. Because if you're not used to rowing up at 28, you want to give your body all the chance you can to learn about it and to embed it into your brain and muscles. Halfway there. Should be, like I said in the intro, it's a tough workout, but certainly not until interval 7 and 8 should you feel it tipping the balance of manageable to then hanging on for dear life. Again, not wanting to toot my own trumpet, but I'm rowing this at the same relative pace as you, holding 2k plus 6, and I'm talking the whole way through. So if I can row this and talk to you at the same time, then I have no doubts in your ability to be able to row it and concentrating on just taking in oxygen and blowing out CO2 and not worrying about trying to talk at the same time. All right, almost there. We've got 3 more in us. 3, 2, 1. Good job. See, like I say, these intervals take you up to an intense hardship place, but they then release you to recover for 3 minutes. And that's the point. We could do this with 2-minute rests, but that would put it into the top tier, like the hardest effort workouts that we have. Remember, it's probably a bit late to be saying this, but the bottom, mid and top tier that I have, how I label these workouts, aren't like bottom for new rowers, mid for kind of experienced, and top for serious rowers. It's not that. Any rower does all 3 of the bottom, mid and top. It's the intensity and effort level of the workout that it's describing, not your experience. So the bottom tier ones are slower, longer, foundation building, fitness building, and let's face it, calorie burning. Fitness workouts develop your engine, they make you fitter, able to row for longer. These mid ones are about exposing you to hardship without destroying you, so they kind of take you up and then back down again. And then the top tier ones, they're the ones that you tend to be sprinting in, that they're the real short, sharp efforts, like the 2 minutes on. What was the 2 minutes on, 3 minutes off we did? Yeah. So that's really short, sharp effort, really fast, 2k pace, but then enough recovery to allow you to do it again. Which is that's kind of the point of a high intensity interval training is to give yourself enough recovery to be able to hit that high intensity again, as opposed to doing something like a Tabata, which is 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, which doesn't give you the recovery to go as fast the next time. So that's more of a high intensity steady state, because you're just purring along at a steady state, not able to go any faster. If anything, you're kind of shelving downwards in terms of the intensity. By the way, if you see one of my cats behind me eating grass, could you tell me? I can hear her shouting somewhere, and that's normally the shout that she makes when she's about to throw up everywhere, so I can't see her. That's worrying. Oh no. This mournful cry. No. Doors open, they'll probably go in the house and find a nice... Anyway, how delightful. Right, 15 seconds to go if you're going to start doing rolling starts before the next interval, and I suggest you start going now. Otherwise, let's hit 0 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Right, I think it's probably about time on interval 3 that I discuss the importance of technique, just to try and lock you back in case fatigue is set in. Because it's at this stage when you start to get just a little bit tired, a little frayed on the edges, that the focus and consistency of technique can start to drip away a bit. So, first things first, we've discussed that the power comes from a leg push, okay? So you push from the front with your legs, and then you're aiming to get the timing of that leg push to happen at the same time the handle and chain connects with the flywheel or water wheel, etc. And that lets the power efficiently and maximally, is that a word? Maximally? Whatever. Go into the machine. However, it's important at that point of connection that you keep your arms straight. So as you come forwards, straight and relaxed. Your palms nice and open, fingers like hooks over the handle, so you're not choking it to death. You're just hanging off the handle, letting the power transfer, which is why you don't bend your arms too soon. Because if you do, you're fighting that power transfer. And it must be said, if you feel you have to bend and pull with your arms, there's a good chance your drag factor is set too high. So, nice straight arms. And it's only at the back of the stroke that you finally pull in with your arms. And that's important, to pull and finish strong at the back of the stroke. So don't pull from the front, but pull here at the back. 2 strokes. 1 more. Amazing how quickly time flies when you start to just think about technique, isn't it? 3 down, 5 to go. So yes, that's what today's t-shirt says. Push, rock, pull, recover. And it's kind of it's taking the push, don't pull thing and leaving that to one side, because, man, I've said this before, so a broken record, but that don't pull is a really dangerous cue, because what it's telling you is don't pull, is that it's all from the legs and that you don't actually need to pull. But the truth is, you do need to pull. You still got to finish nice and strong to get that last bit of power out. So rather than saying push, don't pull, this is where the t-shirt says push with the legs and then you rock over your hips with your back, which I'll talk about in the next interval. You go from that 1 o'clock to the 11 o'clock. And then as you do that swing, that's when you then pull in nice and powerfully with your arms. Now the power you put in through your arms is usually quite proportional to the stroke rate you're working at. It's all about a flow, it's about rhythm of motion. So you don't kind of go with that, swing and in, jerk in really fast. It's all from swing, pull, in, out. It's like Tai Chi, you're flowing from stage to stage. And that's sometimes one of the trickiest things for people to pick up, is this idea of flow, transferring force from bit to bit. Grasshopper. Should be in the next series of Cobra Kai, shouldn't it? Could get into the dojo with a kilt on or something. That's why notice I've got the double skin shorts on today. It's because of my poor little quad. Ray-Bans are all very good to row in because they're nice and light, but they do tend to gather the moisture coming off my face. Oh, there we go. Oh, this is so nice. Oh, this could actually be summer for us. It'll just, like tomorrow, it'll just go and rain, and that'll be it. Rain until December. I've still got to try and sort out my grass as well. So I'm back to the dad chat, back to my lawn. Okay, 15 seconds to go. If you're going to do rolling starts, get yourself prepared, because you can start now with 10 seconds to go. Make sure and time it right so that we all start at 0 together. Just coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Interval 4. After this one, it's all downhill again in terms of coming into a finish line. Not downhill as in, oh, my life has gone downhill. That's not the point. You can see the finish line in sight after this one, which is sometimes when it's easier to get the wind in your fur. Which basically just means you get a bit, ooh, I can go fast now, which is good, but don't go so fast that you can't complete the session. It's important that you do the full 32 minutes. And I mean, this session plays in really nicely to your 5K training as well. If ever you're looking for something to spice up the 5K plan, load this one up. So, your back, primarily, you want to think about leaning in to the front of the machine to a 1 o'clock position. Got that right this time. Got the camera on the right side of me. So you lean forwards and then with your arms straight, you hold that forward lean as you push and drive back with the legs, and really try to focus on holding that forward lean and straight arms until run about halfway through the leg drive. And once you're halfway, that is when you transition from your forward lean and you swing your body over your hips into an 11 o'clock position at the back of the machine. And that body rock is what kicks off that arm pull that we discussed in the last interval. It really is vital to hold that forward lean at the drive, to let the power that comes from swinging your body, let that be added into the stroke power. All right, how many? 2 more? I'm gonna try 1 more. No. Ooh, we're halfway there. It's Bon Jovi time. Oh, so certainly in terms of intensity, you should feel that as we go through interval to interval, it does get a little bit tougher each time. I finished that one at 90% of my erg zone max heart rate. I qualify that because erg zone quite rightly thinks my max heart rate is 174 because I've not been over that on a rowing machine. However, I have been up to 183 on the bike when doing Zwift. I don't like going outside. I prefer indoor rower, even though I'm outside, but garden still counts as inside. And Zwift on the turbo trainer in the studio as well. And then a ski erg as well. It's all about me not going anywhere. I don't want to go skiing. Ugh. I don't particularly have interest in rowing in the water at this stage. I'm quite happy on a rowing machine. But I used to be a cyclist. I used to get up at 4 in the morning and go out for like 5-hour bike rides and things, but weirdly once the kids came along, I got this kind of sense of my own mortality and that being out on a bike in the Scottish Trossachs and being hit by a car and left for dead, obviously catastrophising exactly what could happen, but or even just the fact that I work for myself, and so if I got knocked off the bike and broke an arm and then couldn't work, the impact of that. So I just kind of thought, and it ran about that time that I started to fall in love with rowing, which actually if you watched week 2 session 1 of this Redux plan, you'll have got to certain points in my rowing life history, because that's how I started. That's what I started doing with week 2 session 1, was actually just kind of saying, you know what, it's a 40-minute row, we can spend time together, so I'm going to tell you how I got into rowing and all this, and just talk a little bit about it. Just rather, otherwise it's just all me talking about technique and Van Halen and Deadmau5 and dinner plans, which is important. Well, the technique, but over a 40-minute row, once you've got the technique locked in, you really just need to be able to have the motivation to continue going. So me telling you a bedtime story could be that. Okay, 10 seconds to go, so start your rolling start if you wish to. We're starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And certainly these 3-minute rests are helping me recover. Heart rate was 165 when I finished the last interval, and then it was down at 75 as we started this one. So it's just enough time from a cardio point of view to recover, but what's going to happen is the muscle toll, the power toll, as we go through the next 4 intervals, will kind of overtake that. So the fatigue will happen sooner. Might not happen. You might be breezing through this, complaining that I made it too easy. I don't think so. Remember though, you need to be sensible about your training structure. You'll notice my plan always goes bottom, mid, bottom, top, bottom, mid, etc, etc. You always follow any rowing at an intense level with a bottom to your recovery fitness row in order to let your body recover and repair, but still letting you row and giving you fitness benefits. I mean, you could do a month of mids or even a month of top, but you'll likely find your performance will drop off and suffer because you're not allowing your body to recover. And you could also injure yourself because you're not letting your body repair and heal after the intensity of sessions like this. Okay, 30 seconds to go. Concentrate on straight arms and pushing with your feet. Push that machine away from you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Whew. 166, 93% heart. I would change erg zones max to 183, if only so I have to, or I can stop qualifying it for you every time I talk about it. But actually do wonder whether 174 actually is my rowing max. That just due to my physical makeup, or let's face it, downfallings or lackings, that I don't have the power in my system to be able to take me up higher, whereas cycling, because it's all just legs, you can kind of put in loads more power, as long as you've got the fitness, of course, and then therefore it took my heart rate up. But it's also the body position, because I'm hunkered over on a bike, whereas I'm more up here, and kind of on the bike, if I sit up, I find my heart rate goes through the roof. So there must be literally a physical, mechanical thing about heart having to pump the blood up and down and round, whereas on a bike, hunkered over, it doesn't have as much gravity to fight against. Who knows? Answers on a postcard. Somebody who actually knows this stuff, let me know why my heart rate goes higher on a bike than it does on a rowing machine. The truth is, anyway, I don't really train to heart rate zones. I train on this kind of effort, the 2K plus 5-6 thing. I like looking at heart rate from recovery, just to see from interval to interval how well my body's recovering, whether it means it's taking more of a toll. But I don't really do the UT1, UT2, and TER, and all the other ones. Not because I don't agree with them, it's just it's not the way I started training. I'd always trained from a kind of a 2K plus or 2K minus if I'm sprinting kind of point of view, so it's just something I've never really been across. Maybe the next plan I do should all be based on that, on heart rate zones. Good idea, thank you, thanks, I appreciate that. It's good to have you here, you can give me these kind of ideas. Okay, so heart rate's down to 75 again. Might just duck down a little bit, I don't know, before I start this one. But basically I've recovered, I think I got 74. Recovered just as much as I had in the last interval, even though the interval itself felt a little bit tougher. 10 seconds to go, start your rolling start if you wish to. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Now, back to technique. This is a good time to address posture, because once again, this is the point where fatigue can really start to damage technique and really damage your posture, because you're starting to get tired and you can't quite hold the body position. So I've said about leaning in and leaning back, but I didn't quite stress that that lean comes from pivoting forwards and backwards over your hips. So it's not about crumpling your upper or lower back like Gollum. It's about hinging forwards and backwards. And what that allows is for you to keep a powerful posture, certainly at the front, where it's important that you're powerful and braced at the front to allow the power to transfer through your body and into the machine. But it's just as important to be powerful at the back of the stroke, so that you can just rock over your hips, keeping that hip tilt going from forward to back. Because what you don't want to do is at the back slump so that your hips roll backwards and your tailbone tucks under you. Because once that happens, it's really hard to get back up into this hips forwards position, sitting up powerfully on your sit bones. 30 seconds to go. So really concentrate on just pivoting over your hips with a braced core at both ends and a powerful back. 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, that was tougher. Yeah, 95% finish, so higher heart rate. Only 2 more intervals to go though, so I'd have to hope it might get up to, say, 98 of my erg zone max, but I have to hope I wouldn't hit 100. Ooh. But good news, there's only 2 intervals to go, isn't it? Like I said, if you're feeling that this isn't digging in as much as it is for me, for instance, then these last 2, maybe certainly at least consider 2K plus 5 if you haven't already. Maybe try plus 4 on the next one, and if it's still not doing it for you, then 2K plus 2 or 3 for the last one should, inverted commas, should see you off. Remember, the point is this, it's meant to keep you at a mid-tier. It's not meant to go into the top. You're not meant to want to lie on the ground afterwards, okay? We reserve that feeling for a top-tier workout. You put in everything from either your muscles or from cardio, or more preferably, both. At the end of those sessions, you're completely tapped out from a cardio point of view, and you're completely tapped out from a muscle point of view, which when you're doing a 500 meter or 2K or 5K, 10K, whatever kind of time trial you're doing, that's the point. If you've left anything in your muscles or in your cardio system, you haven't put everything into your time trial. Sounds quite destructive, doesn't it? But your body knows. I remember someone telling me, don't worry, you'll black out before you die. It's very reassuring, thank you. It's true. You'll start to, once you get to a point where it's too much for your body, you'll kind of get that tunnel closing thing. It's a warning sign. It's basically as the blood goes away from your eyes, I think. Again, answers on a postcard. I ain't no doctor. Yeah, so you'll black out before you die. Just make sure someone writes down your time. That's a very good photo. Just search Google for that. If I collapse, make sure and take a note of my time. Okay, coming up for 15 seconds to go, so get yourself ready if you're doing rolling starts. Interval 7 coming up, just got 2 more of these and then we're all done. 10 seconds, start your rolling start. Get that posture right before we start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. And that was a little throwaway at the end there, but it's true. I find one of the great benefits of interval-based workouts like these is that every time you stop, as you come to start the next interval, it's like hitting reboot on your computer. You get a chance to reset things like posture and breathing patterns and all that kind of stuff. And fair enough, if you're either not used to it, oi son, come back. if you're not used to it, or if you're getting fatigued, thank you, son, then that posture and breathing can fall away quite quickly. But even if you can hold it for the first minute, then you're holding it for a minute that you wouldn't otherwise have held it for. And then next time, maybe you can hold it for a minute and a half. And then 2 minutes, yada yada. We're training here. It's like fishing. You don't call it catching, you call it fishing. It's the same with this. We are training to get better, be that from getting fitter, faster, or stronger, or just using rows as a chance to work on and refine technique, so that when it comes to doing those time trials, you have more of a chance of getting through that time trial with good technique for as long as possible. Otherwise, we'd all just climb on a rowing machine, row 2k, and then walk away saying, oh well, that's my 2k time. Almost there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 96%. That's, from a motivation point of view, when people comment on any of the videos on YouTube or in the Facebook group and say how they found it tough, couldn't get through it, couldn't hit the rhythm, or didn't have the flow, or whatever, I'm very quick to say, don't worry about it. The very fact that you recognise all of that is half the battle. If you just climbed on, rode poorly, and then went, I've got absolutely no idea why that happened, that would be a bit of an issue. But if you come off and say, I just didn't feel like I had the rhythm, or couldn't hit stroke rate, or just couldn't hit my pace, if nothing else, it showed that you cared enough, that you wanted to be able to do it at the right pace. I mean, it's like I used to always say about DJing. Every night before I went up and did a DJ set, I'd always feel that kind of excited nervousness. And it's because I didn't want to make an error, but it's because I really wanted to go out and play music and entertain people, and it was that kind of, it's tainted with the don't pick the wrong song, don't beat match wrong, or whatever. So the fact that I cared enough to be nervous meant it was good because I cared enough. But the moment you sit down and it becomes just it's a function of what you have to do instead of it being something that you want to improve on, that's when you need to kind of address why you're training and all that kind of stuff. So if you have a bad day, the fact that you're labeling it a bad day and not just, I suck at rowing, I'm going to stop, is good, because it shows that you want to come back with renewed vigour and next time round do better and whatever. So, can you believe I just spoke about that for 2 minutes? I managed to drop in a DJing reference though. Oh. Right, so last one coming up. You don't have to go faster on this one. Remember, the point of this is that it's a mid-tier workout, so if you're feeling that it's all up there at the pace you're doing already and that going any faster would tip it over into suddenly it's a top tier and you're going to end up having to lie on the ground afterwards, do not push this one. Only if you feel that you're at the bottom, if that's the mid-tier range, if you're down here instead of up there and you want to just push a little bit, as long as you stay within the world of a mid-tier workout. Right, 15 seconds to go now. Get mentally prepared for this. 4 more minutes and then we'll do a cool down and we're done, all right? Do your rolling starts. Going in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. Last one, come on. This is your chance to try and just bed in technique at high intensity. It's a chance to hold on to this high intensity and know that you can manage it when it comes to your time trials, that you can experience this level of hardship and that you know you don't have to give in. I'm hoping none of the intervals today did you get to a point where you thought you couldn't continue. Probably got to a point when you didn't want to continue. But there's a difference between being glad it's over because you were beginning to find it tough, or having to make sure it's over because you can't keep going. I figure at this stage I could probably plough on for another 2 minutes past the stopping time, and maybe that would be when I'd have to stop. But I still have that margin in me, and that is the best description of how this is a mid-tier. Here comes a helicopter to rescue me. Let it go by. Now concentrate on getting that handle in and then out at the same pace you brought it in at. Get it over your knees before you bend your knees. So hands away, hands body, hands body, hands body knees, and then that bending of the knees should help you effortlessly slide to the front of the machine with nice, straight, relaxed arms, ready for the next stroke. 20 seconds to go. We're almost there. Hang on. Stay with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well done. Like I say, you'll probably have welcomed the stop, but you probably didn't need it as such. Right. So let me find my 2-minute cool down. Where are you? There you are. Have a quick drink while you calm your breathing. Two-minute cool down at 18 strokes a minute again. In 3, 2, 1, go. Ooh. Don't worry about pace. All I want you to do is connect with your feet, connect with your arms, just enough that you have to feel some tension from the power, albeit not much power, but just that kind of little bit of force you're putting in. It's just enough to keep the muscles pumping, get the blood circulating while your heart rate eases down. I mean, pace-wise, I'm actually at 2k plus 35 right now, so a little bit gentler. Yeah, gentler, that's a word. Having used neuroplasticity earlier on in the row, you'd think I'd know if there was such a word as gentler or not. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that, and don't know whether everyone's doing these as part of the 2K Redux, or if you are doing them as a standalone. I'm hoping some people are. I don't want people to be put off rows like this thinking they have to do it as part of the plan, because I hope you'll agree, any day of the week, if you're recovered enough, if you strapped in and rode today's session, you're going to get one heck of a workout from it. I know I did. I know I am looking forward to this evening's dinner, which regular RowAlongers, yes, that's what I'm calling you, for want of a better word, RowAlongers. Regular ones will know that Friday night in the RowAlong house is spaghetti night, much to the hilarity of some people, some people's wives and things. But anyway, so spaghetti Fridays, always look forward to them. My wife's just popped out in the corner. She's not coming into shot. Say hello. Right, thank you so much for doing this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave me a comment and whatever, and do the whole subscribe and bell notification, check out Facebook and blah. Anyway, I'm obviously feeling all embarrassed now because Julie's there watching me, so yeah, thank you so much for coming along doing this one. Hope to see you in the next video. Remember, and check out any of the 180 odd videos I've already got up there. Leave me a comment, say hello, all that stuff. Hashtag for today, if you got to the end, is going to be fishing, because of my little fishing analogy. Have a great day, stay safe, be well, bye bye.